Greetings everyone and welcome to episode 30 of GuildGab. We have 5 hosts today. It is a special episode. I'm AuroraPeachy, your host, and with me are all of my co-hosts, Akasaurus Rex, Corvus, INKS, and Alex.
What's going on, boys and girls?
Guys?
Nice to see you.
INKS is
not...
not...
GuildGab your eyes out.
We have a teeny tiny little INKS. We were joking at during the pre-show that he's Corvus's Minipet. Alright, so we've got a lot to talk about today. We are going to talk about the Stronghold beta that took place the 14th and the 15th. The Tournament of Legends, a community-run PvP tournaments, the Hylek, the Itzel, Nuhak, and Zintel, and all kinds of cool stuff in the gem store. So let's get started, going back a little bit to the Stronghold beta. Did everybody get a chance to actually play Stronghold?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For several hours.
7 hours?
I did.
Yeah.
Well, you were actually streaming proper, weren't you, Mr. Inks?
Well, I streamed for an hour on the Guild Wars 2 channel. The others were just playing with some guildmates.
Yeah.
Cool. That was actually the only time that I got to play. Was I did I also did an hour stream on the Guild Wars 2 channel, and then I did an hour. I was streaming, but not on the Guild Wars 2 channel. But one of the matches with the matches the matches versus the devs. They had a devs versus streamers match, and it was me and Doc, Blue, Mufasa, and Jebro. We're all playing versus the devs. That was the first match. The first match was just us versus the devs, and they kicked our ass so hard.
I watched that. It didn't go that well.
It was a
for you, did it?
Massacre, as it should be. I mean, it's the devs, like, as it should be, including Colin, who was completely OP with his turret edge. Like, it wasn't even funny. We had 3 matches, and that was the first match. The second 2 matches, we mixed up the teams a little bit, and it was a little fairer. And I actually got to stomp the Guild Lord with a unicorn finisher. That was my final.
Yeah, I saw that. I still managed to crack out the unicorn finisher. Like, I do like to imagine that Colin's skill bar is just pictures of him. With no cooldown. And
Did you guys see the video of the Colin finisher?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I will pay money for that. Make it happen.
Too good.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to play it because I was ill last week. But I've been seeing a lot of footage come out, and managed to catch up with a few people's streams, and it does look really great that the community and everyone's just kind of getting in it and just going, "This is actually quite cool." The reaction to it's been a lot better than I was expecting it to be, because I was very kind of conscious from the first look at it, because I didn't get to play it at Res either, that it could be you could be in danger of ending up being in like a 2-lane MOBA type thing. Mm-hmm. But from what it was looking like, it was just a big old kind of go to the middle for supply, and then you've actually got to utilize some degree of tactics rather than just go, let's run at the Guild Lord kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played it quite a lot. I loved it as well, but like there was never any point during that time where I kind of felt like I had like a strategy, like there was a strategy that won all the time. Like it was all like based on who you were playing against and who you had in your team, and it did really show off like how important specific roles are going to be. And it's like what people were thinking when they first showed Stronghold off, like, oh, there's going to be people who are going to defend NPCs, but that actually worked amazingly well when it was live, and I really can't wait to play it again. I had so much fun doing it.
Do you guys think that it's been a really that it's been effective to combat the old Zerg horde thing?
Yeah,
that's always been a
100%.
real issue to fight.
So,
definitely.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Stronghold's interesting for a few reasons, and people who are not familiar with PvP really should try the mode out when they get a chance to.
Yeah.
The reason I think that it's such an important game mode for Guild Wars 2 is I like Conquest, and I enjoy Conquest, and I enjoy watching it. But Stronghold, I think, is easier to follow with less explanation. And I think there are a lot of more chances for big moment plays that the announcers can kind of go crazy over, the crowd can get crazy over. It has a lot more of those opportunities within the map because of so many different mechanics that are involved there.
Yeah, there's a lot more depth to it, I think, as well. And like you said, it's a lot more. It's like more simple to explain because you're just breaking doors down and killing the Lord. But at the same time, there's way more stuff to say about it and to make like tactics up and stuff than when you compare it to Conquest. I think I don't know. It's Conquest isn't complicated, but I think it's kind of like it's not like your straight up PvP kind of mode. And for games like Guild Wars 2 or MMOs in general, and so I think maybe some of the struggles that they've had with getting it to become like an esport type thing has come from how different the mode is. And I think this, while it's still different, it's still like ArenaNet doing ArenaNet's thing, and
right,
being different. It's still like more straightforward to explain, but more interesting to watch and more deep to play as well. And I think we're going to see a lot of interesting kind of team builds and stuff like that. And I can't wait. It's going to be super, super good.
There was
there
was. Oh, go on. Sorry. I was just going to say, I think that there were a couple of issues with kind of queuing to get in, weren't there? I think that because it was put in with the normal rotation of PvP matches, that you had to make sure that everyone.
Well, it was like if you queued for unranked, it was like the only thing you could choose. So in that regard, like for voting and stuff, it was totally fine. But obviously, that's not how it's going to be once it's live.
Right.
They're still talking about it having, being in the queue with everything else. There was a few problems on EU for like the first hour, like you just couldn't play it, and it would glitch out and not let you queue for stuff. I think I got one match in before it did that, and when I came back into Heart of the Mists, it was like it said I'd been queuing for like half an hour and stuff like that. And I was
there were problems with the queue on EU.
Yeah.
Towards like I think it was like for the first 6 hours or so, they did have problems on EU. So.
But they fixed it relatively quickly, and yeah, I think most people enjoyed it as well. I did see some people complaining in like map chat, of course, that it was kind of like they want to fight players and not NPCs kind of thing. But I think it was so I don't know, like that they made obviously for the game modes, the NPCs are really important. But it wasn't like that's all you're fighting, and that's what the game mode's about. Like I can understand maybe the fact that you win by killing the guild lord, in most cases anyway. But that again, that you're still fighting players to make sure they're not healing. People can do AOE healing. They can res the guild lord back up if you get him down. Like there's so much there. Like people complain about everything.
Do you think for that reason, do you think that it should have its own separate queue?
Yes.
I think it should have its own queue because it is so different. And I think, the deathmatch map for, that's in rotation now, Courtyard, I think that should have its own thing as well because I don't know, it is different to the normal kind of Conquest matches that you'll have. And I think Courtyard maybe needs it less, but I think Stronghold's going to require completely different builds.
Right.
Almost, you might want to swap to an entirely different class because of it. Like it's kind of a shame, and especially because they introduced the dishonor system where if you disconnect or quit a match, you kind of your account gets marked and it's kind of punished for leaving matches early and stuff like that. But there's been problems with that back when they were testing it out, where like if someone wanted to switch to a different character, like say I don't know, you got on Skyhammer, you want to switch to your Necromancer to fear people off and stuff, that would still count as you disconnecting or something. And so, like, for that reason and, the different builds, the different classes and kind of team makeups, like, I think it really does ought to be in its own thing. And I think most people in the community will agree with me because I'm really cool and amazing.
I think that eventually it will be...
Who are they, Corvus, right?
I think eventually when they start bringing in more Stronghold maps, because at the moment we've just got Battle of Champions Dusks, and I think that there needs to be a much bigger variety of things. So hopefully when Heart of Thorns launches, it's its own kind of PvP mode and says, right, we've got 3 or 4 different kind of maps for people to choose in Stronghold from. So I think it will do it some good to be out of there. Partly because it's going to be that mode that's going to get the PvE community involved in PvP. Because because at the moment, it might even get rid of those damn rank farm maps in the PvP server list where people just don't want to, dip in for 10 minutes, get their points, and then, drop out again. I was very, very jealous of everybody playing it because it does look like a lot of fun.
I don't even play PvP, and I really enjoy it because there's more to do than just capturing points and beating each other up. Like, it kind of, to me, it kind of plays like an RTS game.
Yeah, 100%. I think what puts a lot of PvEers off Conquest is just how aggressive it is. Like, it's all around, you defend points and stuff, but it is just based around, trying to destroy the enemy team. And this has a lot more kind of tactical play in it. And if you're decent, you could, I don't know, and maybe not, but you could potentially not, kill anyone in a match if you, work your NPCs well enough and defend them well enough. And so I think, it'll bring a lot more PvE people in than say Conquest did, just because it's more about tactics than just, killing people as fast as you can and trying not to get killed.
I think the roles are more easily defined in Stronghold, and I think that PvE players who are not used to playing PvP, I think it's easier for them to see these different roles and pick up on them faster so that they can relate to something. I can be a supply runner. I'll run supply. I can be a guard protector. I'm gonna guard the script and such. I can defend the Lord. I can do those things. I can understand those roles easier than I'm a roamer in Conquest. I'm a point holder. I'm a whatever the case is. And Conquest is more about proper rotation, a reactionary proper rotation, where Stronghold is more about reactionary to whatever the beginning strategy is for your team. We had matches definitely where, it's clear because the meta and strategies are not developed just yet, because it was only 24 hours. We were able to win matches in less than 2.5 minutes by running a very DPS-heavy Zergy, comp group and just bombarding the gate. And if you try to race us to the end, we were simply faster than you were. And that can put a sour taste in people's mouths because it just seems like, it's just Zerg versus Zerg, whoever can Zerg fastest. But that strategy is so easy to disrupt by sending 1 or 2 people, get on the Treb, you just totally destroy our first push. Or if you can stop us before we get to the second gate, we now have to rebuild and react to, you stopped our first strategy, now we have to deal with everything you've been doing in the meantime, and we're now on the defensive, which is a terrible place to be in Stronghold.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
That's a good point. I think, to really come to any proper conclusions, we're just going to have to wait until there's kind of people know what they're doing properly, and, there's, I guess, a meta to do, tied to that particular game mode. There's people in chat saying stuff, that Cherry Tune says that they found Stronghold more aggressive than Conquest. I can get that because it depends on how teams play. I think it's not that it's less aggressive, it's just you don't have to be as aggressive if you don't want. Like, if you're, you could play completely differently if you wanted.
What Alex was saying before about it being in the same queue as Conquest as everything else, my fear there is that the same builds that currently work in Conquest, the same meta that works in Conquest, works in Stronghold. I just feel like it's probably not optimal. So what's going to happen at launch, if things don't change, of course, what I think will happen at launch is you'll have people running the same meta builds. You're not going to see as large a meta shift as we probably should if it's not separated, because players are inherently lazy. That's a harsh thing to say, I know, but if I have a Ranger build that works in Conquest and it still works in Stronghold fairly well, without build templates, I'm simply not going to go through the hassle or work of switching around my runes and my sigils, and I might switch a pet or two and a utility or two like I did. But if my build still works and I can still do just a lot of DPS and employ a proper strategy that way, I'm simply not going to change. And that's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame. I think a lot of players will fall into that category of, well, my engineer still works. My thief still works. I'll just run this. It'll be fine because it's only for one game, and then I'll go back to Conquest or whatever else I'm normally used to playing. And I think that could hurt the game type in the long run, which is a shame.
Yeah. It's a good argument for a separate queue as well.
Going down like the road of least resistance, like not so much like lazy players or whatever, but it's just kind of like in people's nature to just kind of just do what's simpler and easy.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have build templates, and I still think that's ridiculous. And I think, especially introducing this new mode, I think it's ridiculous that they're not even concentrated on that. Colin was specifically asked, "What about build templates?" And he's like, "Oh, we're not concentrated on that. We're not worried about that right now. Maybe later." Like, are you serious? Like,
Obviously, we don't know. I have this feeling that build templates. I feel like there's a technical limitation to build templates there somehow, because that information has to be stored on the server somewhere, and you need to recall it.
Guild Wars 1 wasn't stored on the server; it's stored on your own computer.
There's that
as well.
That was local template saving.
Yeah.
But it also did take 6 years for it to come into Guild Wars 1, didn't it? So
Which it's going to be the 10th anniversary of Guild Wars 1 this week.
Oh my god! Yeah, you were right, Peachy, by the way. I checked before we started. It was the 28th. It's not today. It's
the 26th, actually. I looked it up.
Is it 26th?
April 26th. 6th is when Guild Wars 1 launched. Prophecies.
Crikey.
So this Sunday, actually. But the festivities are starting today, in-game.
Yeah.
Right.
So get back into Guild Wars 1, guys.
Get into Guild Wars 1. I played it the other day, working on my Guam title. I think I finally vanquished everything. Working on my Master of the North title. I had to vanquish all the Eye of the North territories, and I think I finally got the last one. Now dungeons.
Some of them are so cruel. The Rhaegar's Menagerie down in the is it the Blood Legion homelands or something? It's the one that's tucked right down at the bottom of the Ebon Vanguard.
It's hard just to get there.
It's evil. It's evil. It's so cruel. And then when you've been finished being rogered by that, you've got to go and do Slaver's Exile, which is just like a lesson in sadomasochism. It's so and again, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but we'll be looking forward to these big hard challenge dungeons kind of things when Heart of Thorns comes out.
Yeah,
but
fingers crossed.
I'm now super. I want to go and play Guild Wars 1 now. You know what? My computer's powerful enough. My interconnection's good enough to.
He's gonna go play it right now.
At the same time.
Let's talk just very briefly about the third Tournament of Legends is coming up for PvP players. As well as some community-run PvP tournaments where you can earn mini llamas, and I guess mini llamas in abundance, because there is the new Mystic Forge recipe. If you have 3 mini llamas plus an essence of don't ask me how to pronounce this, Llamatic elegance that you get from the Laurel vendor, you can get a mini lavish llama. He has a top hat, and I think he has a little monocle and a little bow tie. And apparently he dances.
So cute.
Nice.
I want llamas. Llamas.
Yeah.
It's said that you don't even have to win; you just have to participate. I
think it's the top. I think it was maybe the top 50% or something.
Yeah.
Something
you
like
need
that.
to win a game, maybe not like a whole division or something, but...
Llama.
Yeah, I was talking to Matt a little bit. I think that, we might try and put together a team just enough to win. We just need to win one game, right? We just need to win one round so that we can get llamas to build these minis. You need a lot of them to build like
3.
the final... That's just for the first tier. There's like 3 tiers of this llama. Like one tier adds one tier adds like a hat. One tier adds a hat, a bow tie.
Yeah.
And then the last tier adds a hat, a bow tie, and a monocle.
What?
Oh my god.
The mini.
Oh my god.
But in order to build them, you need to build like so many of each set. So you need something like 30-something llamas in order to complete all of the minis. If you wanted all of the stages, you would need to complete all of them. So
Jesus,
it's a lot of llamas.
So do you remember that precursor post that went out last week saying about how you've got the 3 different parts of the journey about getting a precursor? Precursor llama.
Legendary llama.
Legendary llamas.
See everyone there just flushing their mini llamas into the Mystic Forge going, I just want the llama.
Yeah.
So how does this work? It's a community-run event that ArenaNet is supporting then, with llamas?
Right. So, from the way I understand it, I forget exactly what it's called. Go for PvP or go for something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I've watched a few of them now, but they run like a weekly PvP tournament where. Like, you can even sign up as a single player, and they'll match you into, like, a random team to try and win. And then they have, like, a more advanced bracket as well, I believe, where you can sign up as a full team and then play, your way through that. They have different prizes and all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, there's the larger tournaments, like we were just talking about, that also award, like, a lot of stuff.
Cool.
The prizes always tend to be quite good. Like, if it's not real money, you get like a precursor and one of the gifts for your legendary and stuff like that. It's pretty decent.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the Hylic. Last week's points of interest, as well as a couple blog posts. They went all out telling us about the Itzel and the Nuhawk and the Zintel. So
I'm so excited for these guys.
Ak, you are so excited. What was most exciting to you about this?
I'm hopping for Hylic, I love the puns, but yeah, it's just I'm really excited about them. I thought it was really cool because a really cool thing is that they're continuing a tradition to investigate the these cultures' religions, and I love the aspect that we're not only meeting these 2 totally new Hylic, which look fantastic with and. At first, when you hear 2 new Hylic, you think, "Oh, really?" Because they're like 2 frog people. But then when like they said they're actually making them off of like distinct frog species, it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So like one's like a tree frog and one's a bullfrog. And if you know anything about bullfrogs, those guys are insane. They eat anything. Like they're like evil little monsters. And of course, tree frogs are adorable little crazy things. And I love the fact that you not only have a difference in religion between the 2 new races, but then they actually bring in a 3rd faction of, like, equivalent to Christian Crusaders or the Muslim nutcases over in ISIS right now. Basically, frog versions of that coming in on their beetles to convert the other froggies back to the true frog religion, and I just love that. It's just so awesome.
I thought exactly what you said about, like, when you first heard, oh, more Hylic, it's like, okay. But then once you hear about them and their story and how they're going to interact with each other and the whole religion behind them and how they interact with the jungle, that got me excited. More than, oh, okay, just more Hylic.
And, like, the Nuhawk are freaking huge!
They're
like,
huge!
Massive,
2.5 Norn tall, I think they said. They're gigantic.
That's going to be cool, man. There's something that I was really interested in, and hopefully because when they did the announcement, they made a big thing about the druid. That well, how do you pronounce it? Is it Amayali? Who's the Itzel god? She's very Mother Earth type, Mother Nature kind of thing. So if you know how when you have a particular race, you get a little bit of flavor text about what's going on. So if they say, "Oh, hey, you're specialized as a druid, come and learn about Mother Earth and Gaia, and let's sit down and smoke the old peace pipe." To me, something like that, just to give it a little bit more depth and understanding it into how the life of the jungle works, I think would be really cool. Obviously, it promotes replayability and alts and all the rest of it, but that's something I'm really interested in, to go and have a look at these things. It's kind of weird because looking at a picture of the Itzel, they do seem a little bit like they've been through the bobblehead factory.
Yeah, they're odd looking.
They're a little bit kind of creepy, but
I can't wait to see them with an actual bobblehead factory used. It's gonna be amazing.
But the Newark just look. I mean, we knew that the Newark were going to be like the big kind of rough and tumble type guys.
Yeah. Yep.
But this is pretty awesome.
Their belly slams are going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that like little like a phrase, epic belly flops, just made me in love with them forever. I'm just like, oh, I want my char doing that. Like epic belly flops. Yeah.
That's going to be some when you end up fighting them. That's going to be some like epic knockbacks and stuns and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
sure.
Ruby was saying you do not want to be underneath one of those things when it decides to do belly flop. And it's cool because there's going to be of each tribe. There's going to be different tribes and different groups that we're going to have some that are our allies, and we're going to have some that we actually have to fight against. So we're going to be both on each end of those belly flops.
Yeah.
And the Itzol have poisons and are really good at using poisons and potions, including the poison that's like from their own bodies.
Mm-hmm. The animations looked amazing because they showed off like a few of the skill animations and stuff like that. Just amazing, super good.
And like the Itzol actually like have an animation where they dip like the tips of their arrows in their mouths before they launch it in the bow.
I missed that. Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff going on.
Oh my gosh.
One of the things that makes me really excited about how they've shown off these Hylic tribes is that they really do fit the jungle theme really well, because like Tree Frog's obviously very jungly, and still bullfrogs too. And even if we don't have more new races outside of the that we'd be meeting, is that it makes me really excited for the future expansions, because thematically they'll probably have a really cool race for wherever we go for the next expansion, and it just makes me really excited for the kinds of I love the idea of the races and lore being tied in really well to the thematic nature of the expansion, as opposed to just, we're just going to shove these roach people in or something, or these like butterfly people in or something that has like no connection. It's just like, we'll just have these like name your anthropomorphic race,
Right.
I like it having like a connection,
Butterfly people, Lagos confirmed.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be the Bubbles expansion. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what, just very quickly on that, when I talked to Izzy at Rest, he'd had a bit to drink and he just went, the underwater expansion was crap. Underwater combat was crap. And I was like,
yeah, I remember that.
It was like, it's like, dude, you've got a dragon to fight underwater. How are you gonna swing this, man?
How are you gonna fix this?
It's like
he was talking about how it's like, that kind of real like 3D movement stuff. You can go up and down, as you want, and so like that just throws in a whole load of complications, and AOE effects and stuff like that are always difficult to handle. I think, that we have a dragon to fight, right? So I think we will see a lot more underwater combat at some point. But I think they're going to really want to have a look at, what works and what doesn't work with underwater combat. I actually don't mind
Guild
it
Wars
too much.
3.
Yeah. Tyrion flooded. Everything's underwater.
Oh god.
They might though, like for the Bubbles expansion or whatever. Like instead of us, they could actually swing it by us not going underwater, because if Bubbles rises and then if it becomes more like an island expansion, so that we have to go far out into seas we've never been to, and we find these islands or whatever, and his minions and stuff, and Bubbles is like right on the surface, like he's not hiding in the depths, he's actually like, hey, how you doing? And so we can actually fight him from the ground.
Guild Wars 2 Wind Waker.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're in our little boats going around from island to island.
Yes, please.
Naval attacks.
I think something like that is more likely, mainly because I have noticed that they've stopped producing underwater weapon skins in the Black Line Trading Post collections.
Yeah.
So I think that they are trying to shift underwater combat out a little bit, which I think is a shame, because I think it's a really great innovation. And yeah, you've got a few targeting issues maybe, but it's perfectly functional. It works really, really well, I think. And a lot of the the hell happened there?
Domestic disputes going on over there.
Yeah.
It's the RPG cat. He's like fighting his people.
No, it's Hannah. She just ran out the front door like the building was on fire and didn't say anything. I was like,
blows up.
I actually think that the underwater exploration combat, I think it works really well. So I think you can just imagine some kind of like really great kind of swamp sections in Heart of Thorns that I'd love to be able to see.
Good point. I really do hope we get, even just a little bit of underwater, combat, or just a little bit of underwater in one of the new zones, just to show that they haven't like forgotten about it or haven't given up on it. Because I mean, compared to the rest of Guild Wars 2, the combat might not be anything special, but I think when you look at other games that try and do underwater combat, like they did a really good job.
Oh yeah.
You guys, I was just quickly wondering, have any of you guys played Echo the Dolphin for the Dreamcast?
In like 1993, yeah, man.
That was some of the most amazing underwater gameplay in a video game ever. So I'm like just thinking it'd be so cool if like ArenaNet could maybe play that more. And, okay, let's try to do this.
Echo the Dolphin, that would be good.
I love Echo. It's so messed up.
There was a ready up with Josh, Tirza, and Tyler where they were going through the new World vs. World map, and somewhere on the map there is like a lake or something.
Oh.
So there's not, it's in the desert, there's not a lot of water obviously, but there is this lake, and Josh was saying that there's some kind of surprise in the lake. So the water is not completely forgotten, but I don't think it's necessarily like a major focus right now.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
It's an underwater llama. It's an underwater llama.
Oh no.
He's like
some sort of
got like a little
monster, like creature maybe.
yeah.
I really want to know what's in that lake now.
Oh man. Is it like close to one of the bases? Is it like connected to one of the could it be a mechanic that maybe there's like a teleportation, like a mesmer portal down there that can like port you to the other side of the map or something?
It'd just be a consumable that gives a legendary to the first 100 people to find it.
Well, we know that the center of the map has dinosaurs. Like there's that event with the laser. So, maybe it's some kind of underwater dinosaur. That's kind of cool to think about.
Cool.
Ooh,
Spinosaurus.
Baby bubbles.
There you go.
Down there.
Bubbles.
Maybe it's like the spine of like. It's one single tooth. It's a tooth of bubbles. It's the tooth of Steve.
Tooth of bubbles.
Tooth of Steve.
It's a fin of bubbles. Fin of bubbles.
I like it.
Ooh.
Right. So, anything else on the Hylic? That picture, you guys, of like the new hawk with like little Itzels all over him.
Oh yeah. Being attacked by.
I hope they're like rainbow colored. I hope that there's all colors of Itzel, because we've really only seen a couple different colors, but we have seen different colors, so I hope there's like yellow ones and green ones and red ones, and like you go into their treetop like tree houses and there's just like every color. I would love that.
Do you know what? I want a mini game. I want a mini game in Heart of Thorns called Lick the Itzel, and what you have to do is you have to find like because allegedly friends have told me that if you lick like different coloured tree frogs, you get like hallucinogenic effects. So you have
so
to,
it's like
run
Belcher's
around.
Bluff, but it's with Itzel.
You have to go around and like lick tree frogs, and as you go more around, the screen gets more trippy, and then by the end, it's just like.
Dude, that could be a jumping puzzle mechanic. Like, do a jumping puzzle as you progress, it's slowly.
You have to keep licking the Itzel as you go along, and you have to try it. That would be cool if they brought back the drunk effects, like Guild Wars 1. There's alcohol in Guild Wars 2, but there's no drunk effects.
Yeah.
You gotta lick Itzel to get really, really high.
Changes the colors on your screen and everything together.
Yes.
And then you can just see like you can see like stacks and stacks of these consumables in people's inventories as they go through the game. It's like, everybody use your yellow frogs for this boss. And everyone's there like,
yellow Itzel.
Unicorns fly across your screen. Colors.
That's part of the mastery track, is you learn which Itzel are, what hallucinogenic effects.
Luckily, Itzel.
This needs to be in the game.
Oh boy.
Alex, Obi did.
If you get really friendly with an Itzel, you can lick them. And like,
How you make any
Obi
man.
asked if your friends who told you about licking tree frogs, are they still among the living?
They got carried off by a pack of imaginary giant spiders.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
they are really cool. It's a really great. It's just like great for our ArenaNet to release such a in-depth article on these new races that we'll be interacting with, and like with the fact that our characters are going to be voiced again, it's going to be so much fun to hear them talking with these two very different races, because like the Itzel are these like surfer dude kind of personality types, and then the Nuok are kind of more like how I am most of the time, or like kind of like grouchy and so I'm like really looking forward to this.
Yeah, definitely. I just remember when they said that the next points of interest was going to be on the highlight, I was like, oh god, we're never getting this expansion. Talk about specializations, please. Talk about guild halls, please. Like, all this stuff. And I'm like, really, the highlight? But it was good. It was good.
Yeah,
I'm glad
really
they did,
good.
because it's going to be a big part of the jungle. So I was very glad. Yeah. So final vote. Are you guys Team Itzel or Team Nuhawk?
Dude, Itzel, obviously.
Itzel, man.
Obviously, Itzel,
Itzel.
man. Peace, bro.
Epic
Itzel,
belly
man.
flops.
Itzel,
Taste the
dude.
rainbow.
Probably pretzels. I mean, Itzels. Itzels make me think of pretzels. I don't know.
Now I'm hungry.
Peachy. What about you? Which one? Are you?
Oh, Team Itzel. Absolutely. They're the
Team Itzel.
optimists.
Yeah.
I'm the only one for the Nuok, really.
Well, when I talked to Izzy and Matt Werfel at PAX East, and I asked them which of the NPCs, which of the new friendly NPCs were their favorite, and Izzy, of course, have said the Exalted, and Matt Werfel had said Nuok were his favorite. So
Cool.
there you go.
Team Pretzels. Team Pretzels.
Team Pretzel.
Alright, let's talk about the past couple weeks. We've gotten some new items in the gem store, including Living World Season 2 pack. So if there's anybody, finally, who, you could buy them all individually, but now you can just go to the gem store, and the price, like, if you have 2 of them unlocked, like, the price will drop to just, like, what's left. So you can go to the gem store and get, like, just, you buy that, and then you have whatever's left that you don't have of Season 2. So
there's no discount for buying it in, like, a pack then, or anything? It's what, like,
don't
1,600 gems for
so.
all 8?
No.
I think it's like a set price for each episode, and it just calculates which ones you need.
Oh, that's
Right.
cool.
Right. Yeah, so it's more of a convenience, because you could always go to the hero panel and buy them separately. So it's like a convenience thing, and it's right there in the gem store, so while you're browsing the gem store, oh look, I don't have all of Season 2. So Corvus, do you have the
No, I knew this was gonna happen.
I'm gonna ask you this. I
knew this was gonna happen.
What's your guild called, Corvus? What's the name of your guild?
The Happy Unicorn Guild.
The Happy Unicorn Guild. And what finisher recently came out?
The Rainbow Unicorn finisher came out.
It's is that the official finisher of your guild now?
It is, yeah. It is.
I'm sorry. I love you, Corvus.
Do you have the finisher?
I don't have one, thanks. and it pains me every.
The leader of the Unicorn Guild doesn't have the Unicorn finisher.
No, don't.
Oh.
Poor Corvus.
And it makes me sad every time I log in. I'm just gonna quit the guild, I think. It's my only option.
Wait, where are you?
That's the only finisher I've ever bought, and I had to buy it for Stronghold. I was like, if I'm gonna play Stronghold on stream on the Guild Wars 2 channel and with the devs, I need to have this Rainbow Unicorn finisher. It's amazing.
Just to humiliate somebody when you manage to down them.
Yes. I don't buy too many finishers, but there have been some really good ones recently. I really like the Skrit, and now the Unicorn finisher, of course. Both of them are pretty amazing. It's been some good ones
definitely on par with the llama finisher.
Yeah.
This finisher gives me hope that for when the precursor for the Dreamer comes out, we're going to Equestria. Oh, yeah. Power Strong's going to be there.
Have you played Diablo 3? There's where they replaced the cow level with was it like the happy unicorn level? And it's just like a sea of slaughter of rainbow unicorns. It's
and there's like also actually like if you go to one of like the YouTube videos for that level of Diablo 3, and if you check out the comments, there's just a stream of like incredibly insecure males like bashing bronies and My Little Pony, and then of course there's like an equal amount of bronies like bashing back. It's just like war of opponents.
Oh my god!
Like,
one of the things that I really like about the finishes that they put out is I don't. I've bought maybe 2, I think, since launch, and everyone can go, they're a bit of a kind of like a cash grab and all the rest of it. But the thing is, like, each one is so individually stylized and it's so different, and there's a constant different appeal to different kinds of people who play the game. That they're 100%. They're always bought in like mass quantities. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be doing them. They just go, oh, you guys have some more things, and one of the things that's been consistently excellent is the quality of the finishes that they've put out. Yeah. And even if it's been like a serious one, like I've got the Ascalon one, which I think is quite cool with all the guys that rush over. Yeah. And that's kind of a seriously cool one. And then the Unicorn one, which is just like...
And there's so many of them now that when I do go into World vs. World or PvP and someone's gonna stop me, like, I'm like, man, I'm dead. But at the same time, when you see like a cool finisher, like if I see the Super Adventure Box finisher and it's like, and it's got the little blocks, I'm like, that's awesome. Like, gives me that little bit of happiness, even though I died.
I think too that things like finishers are really kind of the perfect gem store items for people. Yeah. You want to buy things like skins or permanent account unlocks, things like that. And for the PvP side of things, or even like the World v World side of things, that I think finishers are really like I think that's a really good thing for them to sell and iterate on and make and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it has no effect like on it doesn't affect your account or your characters in any way other than you kind of have this cool thing that you feel cool about every time you stomp someone. It's good. It's good.
We have a correction real quick in the Living World Season 2 pack is apparently it's 20% off if you buy it as a bundle.
Oh, cool.
So it's cheaper.
That makes sense.
Buying them individually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. So thanks, guys.
There was something that they were going to do with finishers probably about a year, 18 months ago, that they were going to freeze the PvP reward track, and so that whatever rank you were at, say like, I mean, at the time I was like rank 3, and what they were going to do was they were going to freeze your current rank, so whatever rank you were at, that was going to be your maximum finisher. So like, if you were at like Tiger rank would be where you would stay, and then there would have had to been a much greater reliance on the cosmetic finishes and all that as well. But what they've done, they've kept that prestige option, and they've kept it very, very separate as well, so that you can't go and buy, your dragon finisher or your phoenix finisher. Even like I've still got a whole bunch of disposable gold Dolyak finishes from World v World from last year. So all of those kind of ones that have the prestige, they've done a great job of, sticking what they said to do, that the gem store is pretty cosmetic. It's not an indication of prestige, which I do feel kind of guilty about using my gold Dolyak finishes, because I went in, did my achievements, and they kind of ran out again. In fact, I actually think I gave my account details to a guildie to do because I couldn't be bothered. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, more rainbow unicorn finishes is what I say.
There was also the. Go ahead. Do you have?
Oh no, I was just gonna say it like obviously shows a Scottish bias in ArenaNet because of the unicorn, which represents Scotland. If people don't know that.
We also got the exemplar outfit. Finally, the Countess Anise inspired outfits.
That's what they're from.
That finally came out on Tuesday or Monday,
Yeah.
I think. It
Monday.
actually came out, yeah. I'm so used to everything coming out on Tuesday, and now they're
I know.
releasing stuff on Monday. It's like they're releasing
It's
early.
an odd day.
That's a lot. But yeah, so that finally came out. I bought it immediately. I've heard less fanfare about the male version.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? Me and Master were actually talking about this last night. We were looking at it on our male Oziras, and we actually think it looks fantastic. He's like, I need to get this now. The mask, I don't know. I guess because their heads are larger, the mask is a little larger, so you can see more of the detail. And I don't know. The cute little suit is cool with the bright blue trimmings and all that. I actually like the male version on Azura more than I like the female version on Azura.
I love that there is a female version of
Yeah,
Asura.
right.
All of the
Yeah.
outfits now are
Yes.
the female Asuras are actually getting female. I put it on my female Asura and I was like, this is awesome. She looks so cool. And I have the worst time finding something for my Asura that I like. And I actually really like this. It also dyes really well. That's the one thing. Because sometimes outfits, like, you'll dye it, but it'll still be a little off, like, depending on the material. But like I like when things are bright and colorful, and this dye is very bright and colorful, so it made me very happy.
I think that the male version actually looks a little bit like the old Elementalist armor in Guild Wars 1.
Yeah, I thought that too. It does.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really nice. Like I've just brought up a picture of it now. Yeah, really nice detailing.
It's fancy.
I think.
I can see how
Yeah.
it's not to some people's liking, but it's fancy.
It's fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Richie and I have put out a challenge to ArenaNet to release an outfit that both of us want to buy immediately. Because, like, the last one, the Balthazar's Regalia, he bought it immediately, and he's like, did you buy it yet? I'm like, no, that's not me. I'm not going to use that. I didn't buy it. And so this one, I'm like, did you buy it? And he's like, no, I didn't buy it. I don't like it.
Of course not.
So it's like, we keep switching. It's like, we need something that both of us love.
The governor would never wear such attire.
No. Except for the ceremonial armor, that's super fancy armor. Fancy known.
That the Balthazar armor, I want it so bad because it looks so good on Char.
It does fit a Char
does.
really well.
Like there's that like cape that actually goes down most of the tail length. I was like, but then for like some strange reason, ArenaNet still won't accept my money. So I try paying again.
It's
like,
those
error.
Canadian dollars.
I know. They don't take Canadian. They're like so close to the freaking Canadian border. I'll also have to like fly down there because they're actually not that far away from where I live. Really, if they're in Oregon State,
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
Washington on like the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right
yeah.
in the corner in Seattle. Right next to Seattle.
They're like one province away from me, so I can just
Drive
have a
down
talk
there.
with them.
Demand Char capes.
Yeah.
Capes in general.
give me your Balthazar's armor, damn it.
All right, that's all the notes I have. Did we have any other topics or anything anybody wanted to talk about on
trying to think.
the actual show?
Nothing.
There's been a lot of news, but it's not like when Living Story episodes were out and like we would want to talk for 2 hours about the Living Story episode. You know? It's like
It's kind of a bit dry.
Yeah. I mean, even like that, Shaman's kind of dried up with stuff to release at the moment.
Yeah.
But hopefully we're going to have a few bits and pieces to talk about next week.
Maybe.
And hopefully we're going to get some new information and some news and some more Gem Store stuff and
some NDA.
It's a little bit of
Some
NDA.
NDA.
And here and there, just a few bits and pieces.
I didn't say anything, man. I didn't say anything. I was just saying
Dude, I didn't say anything either. Bro.
Who's to say?
Who's to say there's anything that we can't talk about? Who's to say that? Who just said?
Oh, there was a little possibly like a not so much of like a real kind of controversy, but ArenaNet in the Hilux thing did specifically go out of their way to say that the ISIS Hilux or
Zintel.
Yeah,
Zintel.
yeah. The Zintel are going to be riding mounted beetles, but then they specifically said, "Oh, but they're actually sharing the same animation." So they kind of like went out of the way saying, "These aren't actual mounts." Yeah,
right. They're not real mounts.
They're not mounts.
Don't get overhyped.
Don't get hyped.
Yeah.
They're not mounts for the game.
What was that?
Beetle mounts.
Yeah.
Beetle mounts.
But
Llama mounts. That's not one.
But until then, we're just going to be in the game. I'm going to be. Do your dungeons, boys and girls. Do your dungeons. Do your do your events. Yeah, and
get your daily chats. Get your daily chats.
Dailies. That's basically what I do. I just go on and get my dailies.
I finally finished my Aether Path achievements this week, so that
Whoa!
was yeah.
Which was the last one you needed?
I needed. Believe it or not, for whatever reason, when it launched, I did most of them. I was missing Avoid the Fire, which is like such an easy one. I must have just ran right through the fire. I don't know.
Is that the one where you've got to escort the ewes back to the
right? Yeah,
gate?
And you have to not get hit by the fire. So I needed that one. That was really easy to get. And then I needed the one where you need to isolate that captain from all of his troops.
Oh God, yeah.
And kill him before you kill a particular number of troops or something like that. Anyway, it was a little more difficult to do, but got it done in the end. So that was a big plus.
He's a dick. That guy. If you get caught inside his like area of effect, big vroom 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 thing, and then he starts dropping those the spinny blades,
the spinning axes. Yeah.
But I was doing an Aether Path the other night with a couple of mates, and the clockwork started dropping the cogs on top of the safe zones.
Oh God, that's the worst. Yeah, that happened to me last time I ran it actually.
All right, guys, we are going to wrap up the live show right here. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching live here on Twitch. And if you watched on YouTube, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, click all of our names. They will link you to all of our YouTube channels. Please subscribe to everyone and check out everyone's Guild Wars 2 videos. If you're watching live here on Twitch, there will be links in the Twitch chat. And as always, you can go down below and get all the links as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next week, same time, same channel, for GuildGab. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Thank you for watching.